Today in this video we are going to see part 4 of the Constitution, the Indian Constitution law, stating the directive principle of the state policy. தமிழிலே மாநில கொள்கையின் வழிநடத்தும் கோட்பாடுகள். How the state government should function in giving the welfare policies or in extending the welfare policies, how the government should function. That is stated in directive principle of the state policy. Actually, there are directive principle of the state policy is not justifiable. It is like fundamental rights. One cannot go to the court if the directive principles are not satisfied by the government. That is one important thing. So the directive principle of the state policy giving the guidelines to the government to enact laws on the welfare policies. That is an important thing. Another thing, whenever we are talking about a government, we will be talking about three important aspects. One is called social, economic and political. These three aspects we will be analyzing in all governments: political development, social development, economic development. Political setup, economic setup, government setup. Like that, in so many aspects we will analyze all these three things. So the directive principle of the state policy states about the welfare measures to be extended to the public in three aspects. One is called socialistic principles, another is called the Gandhian socialism principle, another is called liberalistic principle. On these three aspects, the directive principles of the state policy have been enumerated in the Part 4 of the Constitution from Article 36 to 51. So Part 3 is fundamental rights and Part 2 citizenship. Like that, the Part 4 is directive principle of the state policy, which is starting from Article 36 to 51. And another important thing which we have to understand in this, that is, as I already told you, this is the unjustifiable right, which is not justifiable right, like fundamental rights, and one cannot go to the court if the things stated in directive principle of the state policy have not been executed by the government. That is another thing. And then regarding the origin of the directive principle of the state policy, a committee has been formed, that is Bahadur Sapru. During 1945, he was a lawyer. Under his head, 30 members have been constituted for regarding the analysis to be seen with reference to minorities' rights. That is an important thing. What are the minorities' rights to be extended have been clearly analyzed by Bahadur Sapru committee report, and basing on this, the directive principle of the state policy have been enumerated. That is regarding the origin of the directive principle of the state policy. Now we will be seeing one by one what are the socialistic principle, what are the Gandhian principles, and what are the liberalistic principle. First, the article number 36 state about the state, what is meant by state, because it is the state only has to direct the principles, and while making laws it has to see the directive principles. Basing on the directive principle, the state has to enact laws. So what is meant by state? The state is nothing but, as stated in Article 12, what are the definitions stated in Article 12, the same thing is stated in 36. The state means it is the government of the state government, central government, and legislature, and the parliament, and other local government, and other some government companies are included in this directive principle of the state policy. So under the article 36 state means these are all the things included in state. And 37 article 37 state about the obligation, that is what all things enforceable which cannot be enforceable by court in court, but it is the obligation of the state, being the welfare of the state. It has to be, the welfare has to be extended to all the citizens of India, or that is state, that is stated in article 37. Obligation means, in common parlance what we say obligation means you can do or you cannot do, like that, but it's not so. Actually obligation means we have to do compulsorily, that is the thing obligation. So the government has to do, it is the obligatory on the part of government to do certain welfare measures. That has been stated in directive state policy, that is 37. And the socialist principles are article 38, that is social, economical and political justice are to be extended to the people, that is article 38. 39, that is adequate means of livelihood should be extended to all citizens of the state, that is India. Then article 41, right to work, right to education, and right to public assistance, like some welfare measures have been extended, that is 100 days work in a family for 100 days, that is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Government Employee Scheme, MNREGA. Like that, so many welfare facilities to uplift the downtrodden, that is right to education, right to work, and public assistance, that is to help the jobless poor, that is 41. 42, the maternity relief should be given who are in need of that, that is stated in article 42. And 43 states about the living wages. So fair wages, living wages, minimum wages, so many wages are there. The minimum living wages should be extended to the workers in a factory or an organization, that is living wage. And 43A, and participation of workers in management, that is the workers should also participate in management for giving suggestion of the improvement of the functioning of organization, that is participation of workers in management, that is joint council. So many council have been set up among the workers to suggest certain welfare measures or certain employee oriented welfare measures to the management, that is called participation of management, participation of workers to the management. Then 45, that is free and compulsory education to the to all, that is 45. Article 47 states about raising levels of nutrition. The nutrition level should be raised for the needy, for which so many welfare measures have been taken, like giving subsidized food in ration shops, like that, that is raising levels of nutrition and standard of living. By that the standard of living can be improved, and the economic of the employee can be improved by taking that free rice and other thing. They can have the energy to work, by that way the economy can be improved, that is. And 39A, equal justice and free legal aid has been stated in 39A. That is, when indigent people are there, it is compulsory on the part of the government to give free legal aid to the indigent persons or poor people, that is socialist principle. Second thing is Gandhian principles. Gandhian principles usually states about the village development. The village, India consists of, when Gandhi was alive, about 75% of the people lived in villages. So the India development is in the hands of the village. Now it has reduced to 60% because of migration of workers from rural to urban areas. Now the organization of village panchayat. So it is the grassroots level democracy. So village level panchayat is to be developed for the upliftment of the poor, downtrodden and village people. So that is Article 46. 43, being in village, the employment opportunity to be created for which the cottage industries are to be developed, and according to Article 43. 43 provides the provision for cottage industries, and 43B, cooperative societies are to be formed for the promotion of the welfare activities of the particular sector. It may be in agriculture, it may be in some small scale industries like that. Then 47, prohibition of drinks, that is, and also consumption of intoxicated liquor, that is the drinks that which gives intoxication to be prohibited. That is also one of the directive principles of the state policy. And prohibition of slaughterhouse, that is the milch cattle and other things to be developed, and draught animals are to be developed, that is the hard working bullocks are to be developed, the indigenous breed should be developed. All these things are stated in 48. And 39C, that is promotion of justice. And 41, right to work and right to education have been stated in 41. And 43, subsection 3, labor a partner, that is participation of management, that is, these are all the Gandhian principles. Gandhi visualized the village development as well as the cooperative movement, as well as Swaraj movement, as well as Swadeshi movement. These are all the things to be developed because the villages, the Indian economy is in the hands of the villages. This is with regard to the Gandhian socialism principle. And another last one is liberal principles, liberal intellectual principles. One, the 44 says uniform civil code, that is in personal law, irrespective of religion, all should be governed by uniform civil code. Now we have Muslim law, Hindu law, and then Christian law. These laws should be merged, and for all religions a uniform civil code is to be formed. That is the visualization of the directive policy. And 45, childhood care, education, and that is the children up to 6 years, that is compulsory education under Article 45A. 48A, protection of environment and wildlife. So the environment plays a vital role in keeping the atmosphere clean, and for the very good rain and the climatic maintenance of all the things, the environment is to be protected. Simultaneously the wildlife also to be protected, because if the forest is not there, the wildlife will come out from the forest. Those things are also to be protected, that is wildlife. Then 49, protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance. That is all the monuments, the very great monuments like Taj Mahal, that is Red Fort, so many things are there. Those things are to be protected, and the national importance are also to be protected. And the independent judiciary, that is the judiciary is to be separated from the executive, that is independent judiciary from executive. So executive and judiciary and legislator, these are all they are having separation of powers. So one cannot clash with the other, one should not clash with the other. That is called the independent judiciary from executive. There should not be any clash between these two. And then last one is the international security and peace have been provision has been stated in Article 51, international security and peace. These are all the things about the directive principle of the state policy. And some case study also we will see. The Kesavananda versus State of Kerala, that is Article 38. The fundamental part of the fundamental rights of the Constitution should not be changed, but the basic fundamental rights should not be changed, but it can be changed now. that is the Kesavananda versus State of Kerala. But in Kolaknath case, the basic structure, the fundamental rights by any means could not be changed. But in the Kesavananda Bharati case, versus State of Kerala, the fundamental rights can also be changed, but the basic fundamental rights cannot be changed. And then the legal aid should be given. This is stated in Union of India versus Shala, that is 1986, and Ranjan versus Union of India 1953. It is not mandamus on the part of this case study, but remedy under the article 30 within bracket subsection 1 should be given. And then the Jalam versus traveling versus Ane 1979. This is article 19(1) within bracket G, that is the empowerment of the minimum, the employee should be given minimum bonus, that is under article 43, that is living wages. So minimum bonus should be given, extended to all, that is under article 19(1)G, which is also in coherence with 43, which states about the living wages. And then Kerala Education Bill 1957 states about the free and compulsory education. And then Krishna versus Government of AP 1979. This is under article 46, which promotes weaker section, and also SC/ST, promotion of SC/ST, that is stated in article 46. Economic interest of the weaker sections are to be protected as per this case study. And then Chandramohan versus State of UP, in this article 50, that is independent judiciary should be adopted and it should be separated from executive, that is adopted. These are all the case studies which is included in the directive principle of the policy. So with this we conclude the English version of this directive principle. In Tamil, ஒரு ஸ்டேட்டுக்கு, ஸ்டேட் என்பது நாம் தமிழ்நாடு அது அப்படி பார்க்கக்கூடாது. இந்தியா என்பது ஒரு ஸ்டேட். அந்த இந்தியா என்கிற ஸ்டேட்டுக்கு அதனை வழிநடத்துகின்ற கோட்பாடுகள் என்னென்ன, அதில் மக்களுக்காக என்னென்ன வசதிகள் செய்து கொடுக்கப்பட வேண்டும், அது எக்கனாமிக் பொருளாதார அடிப்படை வசதிகள் செய்து தரப்பட வேண்டும், சமூக வசதிகள் செய்து தரப்பட வேண்டும், சமூக அரசியல், தட் இஸ் ஓட்டிங் பவர் அண்ட் அதர் திங்ஸ் ஷுட் பி கிவன். இவைகளெல்லாம் இந்த டைரக்டிவ் பிரின்சிபல்ஸில் சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. ஆனால் இதில் ஒன்று முக்கியமான என்னவென்றால், இதில் சொல்லப்பட்ட நலத்திட்டங்கள் செயல்படுத்தப்படவில்லை என்றால் நாம் அது குறித்து கோர்ட்டுக்கு செல்ல முடியாது. ஆனால் ஃபண்டமெண்டல் ரைட்ஸில் நமக்கு when the infringement of fundamental rights we can go to the court, that is the important thing. இவ்வாறு இதிலே நாம் மூன்றாக பிரித்து கொள்கின்றோம். சமூக கொள்கை, காந்திய சமூக கொள்கை, சமூகவியல் கொள்கை, அடுத்ததாக சுதந்திரமான கொள்கை என்று மூன்றாக பிரித்து கொள்கின்றோம். இந்த சோஷியலிஸ்டிக் கொள்கையிலே உதாரணமாக அப்லிப்ட் புவரிலே எக்கனாமிக் செக்ஷன், அதாவது பொருளாதார விதத்திலே எந்த விதத்திலே உயர்த்தலாம் என்பதை பற்றி சொல்லப்படுகிறது. இது கிராம முன்னேற்றம், ஸ்வராஜ் இவைகளை பற்றியெல்லாம் காந்தியன் பிரின்சிபலே சொல்லப்படுகிறது. கிராம முன்னேற்றத்தை பற்றி சொல்லப்படுகிறது. அடுத்ததாக லிபரல் பிரின்சிபலே ஒரு சுதந்திரமாக வாழ்வதற்கு என்னென்ன செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. ஆக இத்துடன் நாம் with this we conclude this topic, directive principle of the state policy.